Okay, so let's talk about something really serious. Imagine a flood so powerful it just wipes out everything you own. Now, what if I told you that flood was completely predictable, even preventable? Well, in July 2025, that's the exact tragic reality that hit Adamawa State in Nigeria. And it's just the latest chapter in a crisis that keeps happening over and over again. So let's get into it and figure out why.
To really grasp the human side of this, you just have to hear it from someone who lived through it. A survivor, Ibrahim Ahmed Mishika, said this, and listen closely. "I was battling for my life, threatened not only by the chest-deep water, but also by the snake that bit me." Just let that sink in for a second. It's not just the water. You're fighting for your life, and then you're bitten by a snake that's been washed into your path. I mean, that one sentence, it just tells you everything you need to know about how terrifying this was.
So yeah, a storm and snakes. That's our starting point. We're going to focus right in on what happened in Yola, the capital of Adamawa State. Because by looking at this one specific event, we can really start to understand the immediate human cost, how a simple heavy rain can spiral into a life-or-death situation for thousands of people.
And the numbers, they're grim. The official count from this one flood was 23 people dead. But here's the thing. Authorities also said that many, many more were missing. Just gone. Their families left with no answers. So we're not just talking about property damage here. This was absolutely lethal.
So you gotta ask, how did it get this bad? Well, when the state governor spoke about it, he basically laid out a recipe for disaster. Of course, it all started with incredibly intense rain. But the real problem was that the water had nowhere to go. Why? Because the drainage channels were totally clogged up with waste. And, even worse, people had built houses and other structures right on top of the natural waterways. It's this perfect storm of issues that left thousands of families with no choice but to flee to temporary camps.
And this is where we have to zoom out. Because what happened in Adamawa, it wasn't a one-off. It wasn't just some freak event. If you really want to understand what's going on, you have to see this as part of a much bigger, much more disturbing pattern. This isn't about one flood. It's about a repeating cycle of disaster.
Just look at this timeline from the last year alone. It tells the whole story. September 2024, Borno State gets hit with its worst flood in 30 years. Over 1 million people displaced, 100 dead. Then you jump to May 2025. Mokwa gets slammed. Over 200 dead, 300 missing. The scale of this is just, it's hard to even process. And then, of course, Adamawa in July. You see the pattern? This isn't just bad luck. This is a recurring nightmare.
Okay, so if this is happening over and over and over again, the big question is why, right? What's really going on here? What are the root causes that turn a heavy rainfall into a full-blown, deadly disaster? Let's dig in and actually unpack the anatomy of these floods.
Well, according to an environmental expert, Dr. Yusuf Idris Garba, you can basically break it down into two big categories. And these two things, they feed each other. On one hand, you've got the human factors. We're talking about things like dumping trash that clogs up all the drains, not doing the basic maintenance on dams, and this is a big one, building stuff right in the middle of natural waterways. Then on the other hand, you have these huge environmental pressures. Climate change is making weather go haywire, and deforestation means there are fewer trees to soak up all that runoff. It's a double whammy.
And Dr. Garba really hits the nail on the head when he talks about climate change. He says, and I'm quoting him here, "Our rainfall is becoming unpredictable. We are experiencing very high-intensity rainfall within very short periods." So think about what that means. It's not just a steady rain all day. It's like someone turning on a giant fire hose for an hour. The ground can't absorb it, the drains can't handle it, and that's when you get these catastrophic flash floods. All right, so we've talked a lot about the problems. It's pretty bleak, but just knowing the causes doesn't fix anything, right? So now we get to the most important part. What about solutions? What can we actually do to break this awful cycle? Is there a way to stop this from happening again and again?
What's interesting is that the solutions experts like Dr. Garba propose, they're actually pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science. Step 1, use experts. Do proper environmental studies before you build anything and actually maintain your dams. Simple. Step 2, stop blocking the drains. Just stop dumping trash in them. And step 3, enforce the rules. We already have laws that say you can't build on waterways, so enforce them.
So what are officials saying they're doing about all this?
Well, for their part, they say they're taking some steps. For example, one of the river basin authorities says it's trying to be proactive. They're letting water out of dams before the heavy rains start, which makes sense, right? Frees up space. They also say they're clearing out this invasive stuff called tiper grass, which apparently gets so thick it can completely block a river's flow.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter. It's the final and, honestly, the most frustrating question. We know what causes these floods. The solutions, they seem pretty clear, pretty logical, and officials say they're doing some things. So why does this keep happening? What's the disconnect? What's preventing the kind of real, large-scale action that would stop people like Ibrahim Ahmet Mishika from having to fight off snakes while chest-deep in water? That is the question.